Have you heard about this house? They call it a house in LA. They call it a giga mansion. It was on the market originally for $500 million. Now it's half off for $250 million. It's in the hills of Bel Air. 105,000 square feet. You heard that right. My house is 2,000 square feet, so this would be 50 of my house. Ridiculous. Now, it looks down on a house built by Mohammed Hadid. This is a real estate developer. He's the father of the model Bella Hadid. He built this house that was so big and stupid and illegal. It's half finished and they have to tear it down. Do we have a picture of the Hadid house, guys? That's the new one. That's the Hadid house. They have to tear that thing down. Right? And now they're selling the one on top of it for half off, right? No one will buy it because who would? Who would buy this? You're basically buying a soulless office complex. Why would you want to live in an office building, a giant soulless office building? So I want to spend some time on this because I think this brings up a really important lesson about envy. You're supposed to feel envious about this house. You're supposed to feel bad that you don't live in this house or a house anything like it, right? This is what luxury is, and you don't have it, so feel bad. That's the whole point of it. Why else have it? Why would you build a house that big if not to show it off and brag to people, right? So I'm reading this LA Times article about this house, and the developer is showing off in a kitchen with all these gimmicks, right? An iPad-controlled coffee and tea machine that stores its own chilled milk. Ooh. And the developer says this. This is one of the many, many, many kitchens. But we have a main kitchen at the lower level. This one probably no one will ever use, but it does have very cool things. So you're supposed to feel bad about this, right? You're supposed to feel bad that this house has many, many, many kitchens. How many kitchens do you have? One. One kitchen? I have many, many, many kitchens. Great. You know what's infinitely better about your kitchen, your one kitchen, than that person's many, 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 many kitchens? Your family is in it. You get to cook food for your family. And you get to eat food together around a table. The one table you have with chairs for each member of the family. It has its own hair salon, but okay, part of living life is going places. What's a more meaningful existence? Getting your hair did in a private hair salon or going out and spending time with your barber or hairdresser? Of course, being with people. The house is called The One. They call it The One because it's the biggest. It's The One. Neighbors are calling it The 11 because of Chapter 11 bankruptcy. But I think The One is an appropriate name because anyone who lives here, no matter how many people they're surrounded by, will feel absolutely alone. Envy is a terrible thing. That's my point. Don't drink it. Do not drink envy. Do not be envious of anything. Feel a little bit of envy. I want you to remember one of these three things, if not all three, so you can get it out of your heart immediately, because if it sits there, it will rot your bones. Okay? 3 ways to not be envious. Ready for the first one? Just don't. And it's funny, we don't give enough credit to that in our modern society. Like, what's your advice for how to not do a thing? Oh, just don't do it. We want these tricks and shortcuts and mind games and hacks. No, just don't be envious. Have a conviction that it's bad. Envy is a sin. It's one of the 10 commandments for the Lord. Thou shalt not covet. Don't covet your neighbor's house, your neighbor's wife, his ox, donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. So just don't do it. There's so many stories in the Bible about envy. Cain and Abel, Esau, Jacob, Saul and David. The Jewish leaders who killed Jesus in Mark, it's one of the reasons why they hated Jesus so much is because of envy. James called envy demonic. So have a conviction that it's a bad thing and stop doing it. Stop having it. Cut it out of your heart immediately. It's a cancer. It will destroy you. It will rob you of the joy and contentment of the only thing you have in life, which is the moment. Don't let envy take you out of the moment. So instead of envy, take delight in the Lord. That's the solution. That's the first one. But if you want some tricks, I got some tricks for you, okay? Option number 2 on how to get envy out of your heart. Consider this. Consider, every time you feel envy, consider that maybe the person you're envious of is actually envious of you. It's so easy to be envious of someone with money or fame. But there's a good chance that that person is actually envious of you. And they're envious of you because of the things that money can't buy. I'll give you an example. Michael Jordan. Have you ever seen the Michael Jordan documentary? It's pretty good. There's a scene where he's in his hotel room and he's sitting on the couch there and he just wants to leave and go get some pizza. But he can't. He can't leave because there's a crowd of 1,000 people in the lobby going crazy for him. He can't go anywhere. He's trapped. He's literally a prisoner of his own fame. He can't go get pizza. So it's so easy to be jealous of Michael Jordan and jealous of Michael Jordan's fame. But consider that Michael Jordan is jealous of your anonymity. You're jealous of his fame. He's jealous of your not being famous. You ever thought of that? Ulysses S Grant, fascinating man. After the Civil War, after the presidency, he partnered with this guy in a pyramid scheme, or he was a victim of the pyramid scheme in Wall Street. So Grant and a bunch of other famous people, they got stuck in this thing and they lost everything. Grant died absolutely broke, but he desperately wanted to be rich, like many of the people around him. He was envious. His friend General Sherman, he said Grant lost everything in an attempt to rival the millionaires, right? So he was jealous of the millionaires who would have given everything, who would have given their everything to have won any of his battles. So Grant was envious of their money, but all the millionaires were envious of his accomplishments, of his achievements, of his battles. So if he considered that, geez, I'm envious of these people, but actually they're probably envious of me, he could have maybe rooted it out of his heart. Last way to get over this. Third trick. You need to know that if you're envious of someone for a reason, you have to take the whole package deal. So you got to ask yourself, would I trade my life for all of what this person has? And the answer is no way, not in a million years. You can't just be jealous of one part of someone's life. You have to take the whole deal. And then ask yourself, is it worth it? Right? Look at the big time millionaire CEO, right? You're like, oh, I wish I had his giant house. I wish I had his cars. I wish I had his, lived on the beach or whatever. Right? Well, you know what? The big time multimillionaire CEO, his kids hate him because he missed every single soccer game of their childhood because he was working 100-hour work weeks. So take the deal. You want the big house? Great. Of course you want the big house. You want your kids to hate you? Because you never saw them? You missed all their childhood? Work 100-hour work weeks? You good? You want the whole thing? Of course you don't. So be grateful where you are. Even if you don't have a 4-lane bowling alley in your house and many, many, many kitchens. Instead, build a life that money can't buy. True story. Mike Slater, we're talking with a former congressman about all the backdoor shenanigans with this budget deal. Do that next. Spread the word.
Wow. That was deep and insightful. I want more of that. Like, subscribe, get more.